Okay, tonight I'm going to be looking at fiscal policy. We started this topic last week by looking at business cycle, and then we look at aggregate demand, aggregate supply, both in the short run and in the long run. Tonight, we shall start with fiscal policy. Now, there are three goals we try to achieve in the whole of macroeconomics. The first one is full employment. We talked about that. And the second one is to lower the rate of inflation. And the third one is to ensure that we have price stability, which is to lower the rate of inflation. And then to ensure that we have a favorable balance of trade. These are the major goals in the economy: economic growth, favorable balance of trade, to have a full employment and price stability. So we talked about business cycles, which is the ups and downs in a nation's economy. So we talked about the ups and downs in a nation's economy. When you look at the business cycle and you put a trend line, you can see the growth patterns. It's measured in real GDP over time. So you can see sometimes the action of government, either to increase spending or to decrease spending, can affect the economy, either to lower taxes or increase taxes, can affect the economy. And each time government does a policy or cut taxes, for example, increase government spending, it has a chain reaction. We want to talk about that today. So the first one is, what is fiscal policy? Basically, is the action of government to stabilize the economy using government spending and taxation. So fiscal policy is a deliberate, discretionary action taken by government to stabilize the economy using government spending and taxation. Two instruments: government spending and taxation. There are two types of fiscal policies. The first one is expansionary fiscal policy, and the other one is the contractionary fiscal policy. So I'll start with expansion. When the economy is shrinking, when the economy is in recession, government will use government spending and taxes to stabilize the economy by increasing government spending and lowering taxes. So these are the two instruments here. We have a contraction in the economy, and government want to expand the economy. They increase their spending and then also lower taxes. So when they do this, it leads to two things. Number one, the aggregate demand goes up, the real GDP begins to go up, and because of these two reasons, unemployment begins to go down. So let's take a look at this carefully here. So let's say right now, for one reason or the other, the economy is below the potential. You can see the GDP star is the potential is below. We have a recession. There's a gap there because people are not consuming. There's no money. Investment spending by businesses is down. Net export is down. What should government do? Well, to expand it, government can decide, look, since the GDP is going down, what can we do? Government can decide to increase, to offset, they will increase their own spending. Government increase spending, maybe infrastructure spending, road construction. I will show you videos on this. And when government does that, it creates more jobs in the economy, and this will spur the GDP, and then the GDP will go back to its potential. It could be the reduction of taxes. Government can decide to lower taxes. So another component of expansionary policies, when government lower taxes. When government decide to lower taxes, that means they are putting more money in our pocket. And as such, our disposable income goes up. So in this case, investment spending goes down. Net export, people are not buying our products. In this case, government can decide to lower our taxes. When they lower our taxes, That means there is an increase in our disposable income. And of course, we know that we have a higher marginal propensity to consume. With that, if government decided to lower our taxes, decrease in taxes, it's going to create more money in people's pocket, and then this will lead to increase in consumption, and therefore increasing our GDP and bringing back the economy to its potential. Graphically, let me explain this again. Expansionary fiscal policy. You can see increase in government spending, lowering taxes. All of this will lead to increase in aggregate demand, GDP, the real gross domestic product goes up, unemployment goes down. So let's say the economy is right here, and we need to close this gap. You can see this is the aggregate demand for reason we're supposed to be right here. So how can we shift this? Government can do either increasing government spending. The aggregate demand has 4 components. Let me show you the 4 components of aggregate demand. I'll come back to that. The other one is contractionary fiscal policy. Assuming that the economy is overheated and we have inflation in the economy because it's overheated, and the economy is, prices are going up, inflation is going up. So the government can decide, number one, they are going to lower their spending, or they will increase taxes. When they do that, that affects aggregate demand. It brings the aggregate demand down. The real GDP begins to go down. Of course, it's going to lead to some unemployment. So this is an example. You can see the economy is overheated and is eating up, and prices begins to go up. We are having inflation. And this can happen because there is increase in consumption. People are spending like crazy. Investment spending are going up. Net export is going up. So there's a problem. Government will definitely lower its own spending and therefore brings this back to its potential. So this is contraction. You want to reduce that spending. Another one is taxes. When people are spending big time, for example, people are spending big time because the economy is overheated, government can increase taxes. And when that happens, consumption goes down because of our disposable income goes down. And therefore, with our marginal propensity to consume, it goes down. And then the economy returns back to its full potentials. So let me show you this. Again, graphically, contractionary fiscal policy tools involves decreasing government spending, increasing taxes. And of course, let's see how that works here. So here the economy is overheated, prices are going out of control. So what government can do is to increase tax, reduce their own spending. That can bring this back right here. Or they can also increase taxes, and that also can do the same, or both of them combine and brings back the economy into equilibrium. So let's look at government spending or purchases. Expansionary fiscal policy expand GDP, that is output, by increasing government purchases, which increases aggregate demand. So in this case, government spending goes up. It's one of the components of the aggregate demand, which shifts the aggregate demand to go up. And of course, the real GDP goes up. Contractionary fiscal policy, outputs begins to shrink by decreasing government spending, which decreases aggregate demand, and shift it to the left. You can see right here. So this is a classical example where we have a contraction. We have a contraction in the economy. Government uses aggregate demand by expanding the fiscal policy, increasing government spending, lowering taxes, brings it back here. Increasing government spending and taxes. So expansionary fiscal policy, when we want to close this gap, take for example, how can government close this gap? We need 100 billion US dollars to close this gap and bring the economy back. So government will look for money spending in the economy, and then it can bring it back, or reducing taxes, and therefore that will stimulate consumption, and then that can bring it back here. I want to talk about something called multiplier. The multiplier effect is a concept that an additional dollar spent by government will result in the creation of more than $1 worth of real GDP. So each time governments spend money on roads, it creates jobs, and people get that money they're spending, and it leads to a chain reaction in the economy that generates more than that $1 spent in the economy. That concept is called multiplier effect. So let's take a look at the impact of expenditures multiplier. So what happens if government increases government spending? How that will affect the real GDP? So let's take, for example, the economy is in problem, and government decide to increase spending to cover that $100 billion. Let's assume that our marginal propensity to consume in the United States is 0.75. So 0.75, how do we get this? Of course, is if you take 1 minus this number is 0.24, and then you find the reciprocal of that is 4. You multiply by the change in government spending. This will tell me that government needs to spend 25 billion US dollars in order to close this $100 billion in the economy. So how do I get this 4? We got this 4 from this multiplier, 0.75. So if you take 1 minus 0.75, that gives you 0.25. The reciprocal of that is 4. Divide that, so that gives you 25 billion dollars is what government needs to spend in the economy in order to close $100 billion worth of gap in the economy. So if government does that by spending that amount of money, 25 billion, it will close that 100 billion needed in the economy. Another example, let me see if we have this. Another example is taxes. So let's say, for example, expansionary fiscal policy, decreasing taxes. How much government needs to decrease taxes in order to, so decreasing taxes leads to increase in consumption, shifting the aggregate demand to the right, and therefore increasing the aggregate demand. Contractionary fiscal policy increases taxes. In this case, increases taxes, therefore decreasing consumption and thereby decreasing aggregate demand. So you can see there, taxes goes up, consumption goes down, aggregate demand goes down. So let's say there is a problem in the economy. We need to close $100 billion. How much do government needs to lower taxes in order to do this? So here is it again. How much government needed $100 billion. So we know the marginal propensity to consume. So when you, in this case, we say this marginal propensity to consume 0.75 divided by if you take 0.75, you take 0.75 divided by 0.25, you get 3. You take the marginal propensity to consume divided by marginal propensity to save, 0.25, you get -3 because you are lowering the tax. So government needs to lower taxes by 33 billion in the economy in order to close $100 billion worth of gap in the economy. So the only challenge here is how do I get 3? This is 0.75 divided by 0.25. The 0.25 is 1 minus 0.75. And then we can close this gap. And then the GDP, the AD will close, and we get back to our long run equilibrium. Automatic stabilizers. These are inbuilt policies in our economy that helps to close the gap automatically. When a shock to aggregate demand or aggregate supply occurs, tax revenue, government spending, and prices all start to adjust to help the economy move back to full employment. Taxation increases when the economy is growing. Government purchase decreases when we have economic growth. When we have a recession, automatically taxation decreases, government purchases begins to go up. So automatic stabilizers are very important. Because of the automatic stabilizers, the highs and the lows of the business cycles are smaller. The depth of the business cycles are smaller than what they ought to be. So let me talk about the limitations of fiscal policy. The first one is that the timing inconsistency of fiscal policy, the timing issue. It is that it takes a while for government to recognize when an economy is in recession or in inflationary period. It takes a while to recognize that. And when it is recognized, we call this recognition lag, then government have to come up with a policy. And before they can do that, they have to pass a law or bills. And that becomes very difficult. So, and that can also be very difficult. Just when I was in elementary school and my mom became disabled and was not as functional, she stopped working. I chose. So the legislative lags is very common because of the debate. The government cannot do it quickly because they have to debate in the House and in the Senate before they pass the law. And when they do, it takes a while before they can implement it because president has to sign it into law, how much the tax cut and things like that. And it takes a while to get it into effect immediately. It's called the implementation lag. So the recognition lag, the economy is going into recession. Before we start doing, we are deep in recession. And before we come out of it, it takes several months. Another problem usually with the fiscal policy is something called crowding out or the crowding out effect. It is the fact that when government borrow money to spend and boost the economy, private sectors fold their hands and may not want to do that. And that leads to crowding out. When government borrows money, because they have to borrow money to spend, private sectors will not have enough money to borrow, and that crowd out the dollar because the interest rate automatically goes up. So the process by which an increase in government borrowing, meaning spending, result in less borrowing by businesses because now there's no money and the interest rate goes up. Businesses and consumers for private investment. Government borrows to finance expansionary fiscal policy, increases the demand for loanable funds, and therefore increase interest rate. Because of this interest rate, it limits the opportunities for private companies to want to borrow money. Okay, let me show you here example. This is the equilibrium interest rate in the market. When government borrow to spend, the aggregate demand goes up. The interest rate begins to go up because government is borrowing, increasing the aggregate demand. So immediately the interest rate in the market goes up. And when the interest rate goes up, you can see because of increase in aggregate demand, the interest rate is going up. And then of course, the businesses and the consumers facing high interest rate will not be able to have enough money to borrow. This is without crowding out. With crowding out, you can see we are not reaching that because the private sectors are not borrowing money to take us right here. So this is the thing I'm going to do. But before I leave you today, I want to call some names. So bear with me. Okay. Do I have Faith here? Faith? Mr. Gomez, are you there?
I'm here.
I need to talk to you. Guzman? Brianna? Brianna Guzman? Stevenson? Maddie?
I'm here.
I need to talk to you.
Okay.
And then do I have Mohammed?
I'm here.
I need to talk to you. Do I have Faith? So guys, by the time I come next week, I want to make sure that your grades are up to more than 4,000 because we are getting close to the final exam, getting close there. Now the signature assignment, will come over. I want us to finish most of these things, then I will do the signature assignment together. Don't worry about that. So, so if I don't call your name, let me take attendance quickly. Sarah? Lily? Emelina? Espinio?
Here.
John? Josh?
I'm here.
Gomez is here. Gonzalez?
Here.
Evans? Goodson? Brianna? Gomez? Guzman? Brianna? Kobe?
I'm here.
Lockett?
I'm here.
Israel? Modi? Madison?
Here.
Emery?
Here.
Sydney?
Here.
Austin?
Here.
Anthony? Ramirez? Faith? Adam? Adriana? Sandy?
Here.
Rose? Delilah?
I'm here. It's Delilah.
Delilah? Diego?
Here.
Frank is here. Sophia? Smith?
Here.
Isabella?
Here.
Stevenson? Maddie?
Here.
Vener? Vener? Okay. If I don't call your name, that's fine. Let me know if I mark you absent. Okay. If I call your name, Vener is here. Okay, if I ask you to wait, you can stay and then I'll talk to you. So the following people: Okay, Gomez, Sergio, are you there?
I'm here, Dr. Ocho.
I need you to finish your assignment exam number 2, SAP. You are behind. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I'm actually doing it right now.
Okay, try to finish it tonight. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, you can go. Mohammed? Mohammed there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Please, I need that get done tonight. Exam number 2. It's far too late. Is it possible now?
Yes, sir. I can. I'll get
Okay.
it done tonight.
Yeah, because we cannot do the signature assignment without that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I need it
I
done.
will.
Okay. Stevenson?
Yes, sir.
Tonight, I need it that you do it by tonight.
Yes, sir. I'm doing it right now.
Okay, very good. And the last person here, Brianna Guzman, Faith, Adam, are you there? Adam? Okay, guys, bye.